This is Motorsport Radio.
1, 2.
Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the Superbike Show. We are live on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Thank you for joining us. On tonight's show, we will be talking about the upcoming MotoGP weekend and discussing all the biggest news from it. That's later. Also, big headlines emerging out of the Northwest 200 as it sees its return in many years after the old COVIDs as well. And any other bits of big news that will inevitably drop during the show, or probably more likely just after we've gone off air as well. So I'm trying to anticipate all of that. And also, because we are live this evening, we'd like to get your thoughts on the show. So drop us a message in the comments box wherever you are tuned in. So joining us, it's Luke Newman. Hello, Luke. Welcome back.
Hi.
And also Jack Hammersley here with us. Hello. Good evening, Jack.
Hello.
Excellent. And well, you may be able to hear some wildlife in the background, and that's because we're going to start the show tonight with a special guest. He is live, I guess, from his home or a zoo somewhere in Spain. It's Kyle Smith. Hello, welcome back to the show, Kyle.
How are you doing? Good to be back.
Yeah,
you're right. You're definitely right about that zoo thing. I've got dogs going mad, I've got chickens running about. It's all kicking off.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, fair enough. That's okay. So, if you want to get any questions to Kyle, then, as I say, pop them in the comments box below. I'll be trying my best to check them while he is on the show. So, first of all, Kyle, how are you? How are you doing?
Very good, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be back on the show. Seemed a long time since last year. But,
a lot's happened.
Yeah, tons, all sorts of stuff's happening. And, it's good to be back in World Supersport and, but yeah, feeling fit, having fun riding, so all good.
Yeah, excellent. So, I suppose we'll start off by sort of asking you how your season's going so far, really, how things are developing for you. I know it's early on yet in the season, but how are things?
Yeah, well, started off steady away. Like I expected myself to be a bit stronger in the season, but pre-season testing were a complete fail. It just rained, and we got very little dry track time. And the first race, we had a problem with a lander sensor. So the mapping were all off, the fueling. And the bike was just slow. And I just pushed and ended up finishing, I think, 20th. Just a really poor weekend. Just couldn't find the setup. And then problems, obviously, with the bike running slow. And then second race in Assen, made a big step forward. Played around with setup a little bit, started feeling comfortable on the bike. And I managed to get 8th in the second race in Assen, which I'm pretty happy with. More than happy with the position, which I wasn't that happy with, to be honest. The pace I had mid-race was strong. And I felt like I was competitive again, because started the season off and I just didn't feel competitive. So hopefully I can't wait to get back to the track in Estoril, because we had a 3-way break, and see what we can do.
Okay. I know that the guys here have some questions for you as well, including Luke and Jack as well. And as I say, we'll come back at the end and ask any questions that flood in, no doubt, Kyle. So, Luke, take it away.
So we were saying about being competitive in World Supersport. Obviously, in the past, you've been very, very competitive in World Supersport. You've raced against likes of Jules Clazel, Krimonaka, Cortese, and obviously Sofoglu, and you've battled with them and beaten them. How does it feel to say you've beaten that amazing caliber of riders and your name in there?
Yeah, it's the only thing what keeps my hopes up in especially the beginning of the season in Aragon. I just struggle, like I say, with setup, and lap times won't come in. Even though I'll push in, just lap times won't come in. And sometimes you get down, you don't know if it's yourself, if you're just not on it or whatever. But then when you think back and think, these riders, I've beaten them all before, and I feel stronger than ever. I feel fit, I feel motivated. So it's just a case, that keep working on the bike and finding it, and it'll get there. And the fact that I've had the good results in the past, it makes me believe in myself.
What did it feel like in 2015 and 2016 to see yourself fifth in a world championship?
Disappointing. I wanted to be first. Yeah. No. I've had a few good seasons in World Supersport and a bunch of good races. I think, to be honest, as championships go, I've had maybe better races than championships. I've had a few crashes along the way, but yeah, it's like you say, it's good to be able to race with the best and be able to be up there with them battling.
Because not only have you been successful in World Supersport, but also the Suzuka 8 Hour in 2015. What was it like to race in such a demanding race like that?
Yeah, well, to be completely honest, I was a reserve rider, so I didn't actually ride. I did all the testing and the qualifying and stuff, but the race, I didn't actually ride in the race. So I don't tell that to everybody. No, the experience to be able to go there to ride with the factory team, with the Japanese team, were absolutely incredible. But obviously I'd like to be able to ride the bike in the race, because throughout the practicing and qualifying and stuff, the same, the lap times are good and what have you, but in the 8 hour, a lot of the Japanese teams only like to run 2 riders. Not 3 riders, not like the 24 hours and what have you. So yeah, that was that. But the experience of going to Japan and being involved in the Suzuka 8 Hour were really cool. Yeah, something to remember. And as well, my wife gave birth to the first child, to my daughter, when I was in Suzuka as well. So it would definitely it's a weekend to remember.
Mm. Yeah. We're speaking a little bit about this before the show, but what was the Triumph like to ride in British Supersport last year?
Good, the British Championship, obviously new for me. All the tracks new, except from Donington. But the bike, being new, a lot of work to be done on setup and just finding the balances. Like you rock up at a racetrack, you've got to learn the racetrack. You don't even know what gearing to put in the bike. A lot of the teams what have been on the Yamahas and the Kawasaki's, they know what gearing to put on there. We had a lot of work to do. But saying that, it went pretty well, to be honest. Although I broke my collarbone at the beginning of the season, testing Knockhill, which that threw a bunch of stuff across. But just to be able to race in Britain were, real cool experience, because even though I'm English, I moved to Spain when I was 6. When I was 6, I'm 6 or 7. And never really been back to England. So when I ever go back to England, I feel like a fish out of water. And to race the British Championship, it was good, bringing me back to my roots.
What has been your favourite bike to race for your career?
Favourite bike to race? You know what? In the Spanish Championship, I spent a couple of years on the ZX10. I spent 3 years on the Kawasaki and the ZX10. But the first year was the old Model 1, and then they brought the newer model out, and spent 2 years. And the second year, the bike just felt fantastic, and it's the best I've ever felt on a bike before then moving on to like world stuff. And then it seems like every single year I've spent 1 year on a different bike. And it seems like at the end of the year, I'm starting to feel comfortable on the bike. I found the setup. I'm always a rider what struggles with the bike setup a little bit. I have a peculiar riding style. I ride a lot off of feel, and technicians always don't seem to understand me fully. But it seems like getting to the end of the season is when I'm starting feeling really comfortable on the bike. But then the season after, it's a different team, different bikes, start all over again. But when I spent, like I say, in the Spanish Championship, the second year on the same bike, same team, I started feeling really, really comfortable and competitive.
My final question I have for you, Kyle, is what are your expectations for the rest of the season looking ahead?
Expectations on the bike I'm on was to win. Win, obviously winnings, especially the way things are going in the World Championship, the level is definitely, stood up. But like you mentioned before, I've beaten a lot of the riders before. There's no reason why I can't beat them again. Just plug away and hopefully be getting on that podium. Yeah.
Thank you, Carl.
Good stuff. And Jack, I'm sure you've got a couple of questions for Kyle as well.
Yeah, what's it been like racing against the new MV and Ducati bikes in Supersport?
Yeah, good. Like I said, last year they already did some of the testing with us on the Triumph in the British Championship of how they balance the bikes out. And Scott Smart is smart. Definitely knows how to do it. It makes some things difficult to ride the bike, but the balancing of the bike's pretty even. You've got to say, because if it wasn't with the balancing, obviously the Ducati and the Triumph would be just faster. But yeah, the on track, there's somewheres where some bikes are a bit stronger, some places where they're a bit weaker. But all in all, electronically now, all the teams are so advanced, and Scott spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to balance them, and they're pretty even, to be honest. So it's good.
What's it like going from the treaded tyres to the full slick?
Right, well, that's another thing I've had a problem with at the beginning of the season, that Pirelli's front tyre this year is new. And even though I've rode slicks in the past before, and in the Spanish Championship I rode Pirellis on slicks, then treaded in British Championship. But the front slick is different to the front slick I'm used to. They've just changed the carcass, changed the construction of the tyre a little bit. And it definitely took me 2 races to get used to as well. So, I don't know, apart from that, I think I'll get there. But definitely tyres make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's all I have for you.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle. There was just a couple of sort of non-racing questions, really, that I had for you. Obviously, you said you've been over there most of your life since you were a kid. One thing that if people tuned in listening will notice straight away is your accent. Who've probably never heard you before, and you don't seem to have lost that accent, this just seems a bit weird, because when you tell people that you've been living in Spain most of your life, but it sounds more like you've been living like in Leeds or Huddersfield or something like that. So it's just a bit weird.
It's just too good to lose. Is that good Yorkshire accent?
I suppose you do speak fluent Spanish, I'm presuming. Yeah. But do you do it with a Yorkshire accent, though?
No, I speak Valenciano as well, which is the dialect where we live. So I've grown up speaking Valenciano more than Spanish. So I've got a full mix of dialects going on.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And can the Spanish actually understand you though?
I think so.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm getting by, to be honest. So.
Well, yeah. That's because I was the only reason I was watching an old episode of Benidorm the other day and just reminded me of. Anyway, but fantastic to have you back on the Superbike show on Motorsport Radio. Thank you for coming on. And what are you doing next year? Same thing?
Next year, I've got no idea. Like I say,
just year by year, is it?
This motorsport racing, it's not a stable lifestyle. It's literally, I think back in the 90s, you got a few year contracts and what have you, but and maybe MotoGP. But here, it's just keeping your head above water. And I don't know. We'll see what the results.
Because some people have a bit of a plan and stuff like that. In a couple of years, they want to be here or there or aiming towards something, I suppose. But
yeah, like I aim to. Obviously, if I'd say what my aiming is to win World Supersport and move to Superbike. Is that going to happen? Very unlikely. I'm going to try my best, but you've got to be realistic and very likely. And especially like now, there's lots of people bringing budget or what have you, and it's just making it hard. But I'm getting by and having fun. So we'll just see. We'll just see if we can get the results this year and see what that brings. Good
stuff. Well, I think you wanted to, I don't know, with your family, something like that. But certainly your dogs, anyway.
The dogs are absolutely. I've got chickens here, and they've just. I've got chicks. Kids have just got in from. I don't know where, swimming or something, and it's a madhouse. So I've come home to be like a bit quieter, and it's not worked for me. We've got neighbours, we've got dogs, we've got 4 dogs going mad. It's like you say, it's like a zoo up here. Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're enjoying life anyway, and that's no bad thing, is it? So
no, it's still good to not enjoy. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Kyle, thank you for coming on once again on the Superbike show. And
kids are popping in, look.
What you doing? Who you talking to?
And these are definitely going to be next motorsport stars. They've got little Yamaha Pee-wees and they're ripping around.
Might we ever see them on something like Fab Racing, doing some mini bikes, some mini motos and stuff like that?
Maybe, I don't know. They at the moment they're just riding little Yamaha Pee-wees on motocross tracks, and they've mentioned the tarmac side of things. So
you're thinking, oh my god, how much is this going to cost?
Exactly. Yeah, I've got a little mini moto from what I used to ride, so I'm going to have to get it up and running.
Well, keep us up to date with your career and the families as well, best of luck for the rest of the season, Kyle. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
All right, take care. Thank you. And we will continue on the Superbike show on Motorsport Radio to talk about, some bike racing, because there's the small matter of the French Grand Prix this weekend, or whatever the full title is, Luke. Is it the French Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's the French Grand Prix.
Yeah, cool. Well, what's the main sort of headlines coming into that this weekend?
The main headline must be around Fabio Quartararo coming into this weekend. Can the championship leader come into his home round and take his best result on home soil?
That's the only headline, is it?
Oh, you want all of them, or we could share?
Well, yeah, we might as well just, rattle through all the headlines. I don't know. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting. I was looking at something else. And
with the headline bit.
Hugh Edwards wouldn't do that, would he? Reading the news, he would just say, on tonight's programme, stuff.
You never know.
And then well, actually, there was that famous clip of him just stood waiting for the something to do for like
exactly.
6 minutes.
We just skipped over the headline bit. I don't know if we're going back to it or not.
No. Well, we'll sort of do that because basically what happened. Kyle threw our whole show out by turning up an hour early because
Spanish time.
Spanish time, because Luke had booked in for 8 p.m. And it's sort of reassuring to know that he's still getting confused by the time zones. He's been out there all his life, and he's we should have probably just clarified. Hey ho. So he turned up at the start of the show instead of like in half an hour's time. So, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's all good. So I just threw our highly produced show that we always never like to veer from rigid script here on the Superbike show, as most people know. So the main headline then, MotoGP. Well, actually, Suzuki, talking about, going back to that, it's a weird one because it's not been announced, yet it's been announced.
Mm.
So what has actually officially been announced regarding their leaving or not leaving, contracts, no contracts, and why are Dorna furious, potentially?
Well, very little has been announced. The only thing that we have had, which is the closest to an announcement, is a statement from Dorna, which is following on from rumours after the Jerez test that Suzuki would be leaving MotoGP at the end of the year. Dorna pretty much put out a very strong-worded statement about how Suzuki...
Oh, no, you don't.
Suzuki are locked in a contract. They can't, they've recently signed on until 2026, I believe it was. So they can't just walk out without sort of letting Dorna know in advance. And there could be a decision met between Dorna and Suzuki, but I imagine it would cost Suzuki a lot of money to get out of MotoGP.
Well, yeah, obviously, if you enter into a, what was it, five-year contract? Was it?
It was a long one. I think they're only 1 year into it, and they're already on about leaving. So it's a big shock to World MotoGP, especially since they're 2020 champions, and
they were not doing too badly either. I mean, they're not P1 at the moment. Or, wouldn't it be ironic if, like, I suppose I can equate it to maybe like Formula One announcement where, like, in 1996, Williams F1 announced that Damon Hill was leaving the team. And then everyone was like, what? He's winning things. Why is he leaving? And then he actually won the championship. And then you had the weird scenario where you've got an outgoing champion who's just won the championship, who's just been kicked out of the team. Imagine the scenario if that would happen to Suzuki. Maybe at Suzuka.
Suzuki, if Rins and Mir can continue how they had been doing, apart from Rins's Jerez performance, but they can continue, there is a strong chance that they will make their way up from being consistent again to the championship, to fight for the championship. But they're both there or thereabouts, so there is a possibility that they could both fight for it and then potentially be out of a ride with Suzuki for next year. Interesting.
Jack, what might happen to the riders? I'm sure they're... Do you think that would have come as a big announcement out of the blue for them? Or, I mean, is there time for them to sort a ride out for next year? Or maybe they'll stay with the team, whomever takes it over?
Well, I don't think they actually knew anything until these rumours started, because they were saying Mir was in discussion with Suzuki for another contract extension and possibly Rins as well. So I think that's really thrown them off. But the immediate rumour is Mir's going to Repsol Honda, so that leaves Paul Spargaro in trouble. Rins apparently might be in Aprilia, but we don't know. It's very weird because Suzuki are leading the team standings. They've been the most consistent team. They had a bit of a bad weekend at Jerez, but generally being really, really fast, especially in the Friday practices. Yeah. Probably do better on Sundays, but it's a really odd one.
Could we see a scenario whereby they don't entirely pull out, but in terms of being a factory team, they might just give some almost, they'll sort of flip it into like a sort of a satellite team really, and just sort of give a bit of support to whomever takes it over.
I think I saw something about that, and Dorna pretty much said they're not after a almost 50% effort from Suzuki. If Suzuki are staying, they want 100% from them, not a satellite team, which is a one-rider team like Melandri on the Kawasaki a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to play out yet. But what do you think will happen, Luke?
What, for the riders or
everything.
Just team in general? I don't want Suzuki to leave, personally. I like Suzuki. I think they've come a long way from when they have returned. Obviously, they're no strangers to leaving MotoGP. They've done it before. But if they were to leave, I think, like what Jack said, Mir to Repsol Honda seems like if they go, that's where he's going to end up. Partner in Marc Marquez, Paulo Espargaro seems like he potentially could already be out of the door there. So it's a tough one for Pole, but a good opportunity for Mir. And Rins, a lot of teams would want Rins, I think, because he has been doing well. But I mean, at the start of the year, I did a prediction for where riders would end up for KTM. But KTM have since said that they're not planning on changing anything. So that's another prediction wrong.
You keep racking them up. I suppose, we don't know, do we? We have no clue what's going to happen or what might happen. But it won't stop us speculating, though, certainly. So if you're tuned in, are you listening live, or even have you downloaded this show? Let us know, do you have some special sort of insight into what might happen and why? Do you know someone at the team? Have you got your ear to the ground? Do you know... are we missing something about maybe a little movement that might happen or something? I don't know. Or maybe who's even going to take over the team, if anyone at all. Could they change their minds and stay for at least another year? Because they haven't actually said they're leaving yet. So that might happen.
The other thing from Dorna's announcement as well was that they said there is a lot of interest from other teams, and they used the word manufacturers in there as well, but I couldn't see a new manufacturer joining MotoGP at this stage. I think if it was going to be anything, we could see a satellite team showing up with Honda, maybe Aprilia could finally bring in another two bikes where theirs are running well at the moment.
What do you reckon to that, Jack?
I can't see a new manufacturer entering until 2026, when there's probably some rule changes at that point.
It's a bit far down
probably
the
be
line.
a satellite. Apparently there's been rumours of a Leopard Aprilia or something like that.
I'd also seen Leopard Honda as well, yeah.
And then they've got, it's open, anyone can get a team together, just got to find the right bike. But so you could choose any bike really, because every bike's capable of winning these days.
Could see the Mark VDS Honda return to MotoGP as well. They've been off for a few years.
Maybe Vision Track in MotoGP. Who knows?
Bring Scott Josh up early. Let's have it going already.
Jake and Sam and the team.
Who knows? Maybe
a high crash bill.
I don't know. Anyway, hello to everybody who is tuned in to the Superbike show this evening. Hello to Dawn Hammersley tuned in. Asked a question for Kyle. Sorry, Dawn, I've just seen that now. But she did ask, would Kyle like to have done another season in British Supersport? We didn't ask him that. That was would have been a good question. I suppose he had a better offer. But maybe. That would have been a good question to ask. But yeah, also there was an announcement about 2 hours ago regarding there was a first big crash at on the roads regarding road racing. It was at the Northwest 200. It was involving a support vehicle from one of the teams competing, who was in BSB, and apparently there was no sort of injuries, I don't think. There was a press release announced 2 hours ago by the team, and they just said that the police were investigating. So Oops, happened in the early hours. So yeah. Anyway, we'll actually talk about later the Northwest 200 and how people are going and general update. No action today, but I want to stay in the GP paddock as well, Luke, because talking about Suzuki, who was leaving, someone who's already gone. He's had the boot. It's our old friend Romano Fenati. He's been sacked. Surprise! That's like the 80th sacking of his career so far. I'm joking, but yeah, he's out.
Yeah, but after only 6 Grand Prix, Romano Fenati has been given the boot by Speed Up, and Alonso Lopez will come in to replace him. So he has a lot of talent, Alonso, and Firmino Aldeguer is also still in that team. So there's 2 good young prospects in that team, but I feel a bit bad for Fenati. He had a couple of years away.
You feel bad for him?
Yeah, I don't, because from what I'd seen, I haven't seen anything to say that there had been like a fight in the team, which is, reasons Fenati's been kicked out before, unless I've missed something. But from all I'd seen, it just seems like Speed Up wanted more from Fenati from the first 6 races, and he hadn't been good enough, so he's gone, pretty much.
Exactly. Maybe they just wanted him, Jack, to speed up. Sorry.
Yeah. What I read, it basically just compared to Aldeguer, Fenati was not doing a good job, and Aldeguer's really talented, so it's hard to follow. But Lopez, he beat him in, well, not many races, but beat him in a couple of races last year in the CEV. So, and Alonso did very well in the Barcelona test last week, so he could do something.
Well, how well do you think he might actually do? And for that matter, what's the future hold? That's good English. What does the future hold for Romano Fenati?
Well, I think Lopez could do quite well. Seen Aldeguer get pole position, probably could have won at Termas. So if it comes to a track where that Speed Up Boscoro chassis works, who knows? Fenati, I have absolutely no idea where he could go, because I can't see him going back to Moto3.
Well, Supersport.
Maybe Supersport. But
they're all doomed.
But it'd have to be some kind of ride where there's been a falling out of the team or someone's injured. It's going to be some kind of filling ride for this season, I reckon, and the next season hope you can find somewhere.
No, I think that's a bit wide of the mark. Romano Fenati doesn't fall out with people.
Can Fenati return to Moto3? It's something I'm just thinking. Is he past the age limit already?
Yeah, he can enter back, but I can't see any team wanting.
Why would he? Why?
Because I was just thinking, going back to his old team, but John McPhee's back now, so they don't need another standing rider. So,
I mean,
what's supposed to be back?
When you get into his age, Fenati's pushing 30, surely. Surely he is.
He's 25.
Basically 30. But when you've had the history that Fenati's had and done the things he's done, maybe it's probably just best to cut ties from GP, as hard as that might be, and go somewhere where you could be possibly a little bit more successful with a bit less pressure and be a bit less dramatic about, racing and stuff. Just got World Superbikes.
I could see him going to Supersport, following the routes of like Manzi and Baldassari. I could see him going that way.
Or even... No, he won't come to BSB. No, I'd imagine a scenario where there'd be an incident in a pub at the bar in the evening or something. But that's a terrible thing to suggest about Fenati always getting in trouble. I wouldn't dare. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to happen, and we don't know how Lopez might do, so we'll just stay tuned. Luke, I'm not going to ask you for predictions because I don't want you to ruin his career.
I can make one if you want.
No. Just let's give him a chance first. But anyway, did we know about Michael Dunlop TT? That was an old announcement. Did he? I think.
What, for the Hawk Racing Suzuki?
Oh, for Hawk. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I knew about that a few days ago. Or did I? When was it announced?
Like the day before, like he just literally just arrived. Yeah, I'm with Hot Racing.
Yeah, it was literally a last minute thing that he was going to be with the North. He was going to be at the Northwest with.
Oh, he made the announcement and then he announced the team. Yeah.
No, I think he just turned up and.
Yeah, I think he literally just turned up and announced it pretty much the day before.
Okay, well, fair enough. Shows how much I pay attention to Michael Dunlop's career. But yeah, anyway, Northwest 200 is back, and it's been happening, and there's been already lots going on, Luke.
Yeah, the first session of the Northwest was yesterday, and Josh Brooks, who is riding with the Poolbird Motorsport team after Michael Dunlop had parted ways with them, topped the first session from Michael Dunlop in second on the Suzuki. So we could see those two battling out towards the front in the Superbike class. Also, another notable name is Glenn Irwin, was in 5th place after the first session as he rides with the Honda Racing UK team there.
Right. So I was just looking at some tweets. Northwest 200. Jack, you following that? Have you been watching any of the coverage?
Yeah, I watched the whole coverage yesterday. It looked a bit tricky because you had one side of the track which was dry the whole time, and you had the other side which was half the time covered in water, lots of rain, sort of the typical Northwest conditions. But in general, it looks like everyone's okay. Glad Irwin's is apparently changing to his BSB bike tomorrow.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I've been busy doing other stuff, so I've tried to keep my eye on the coverage and what's been going on and who's been doing what, but I failed spectacularly. So, I might have to just watch the highlights on ITV4, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Slightly. And
BBC One Northern Ireland as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, I always forget that it's on there. But anyway. Northwest 200. Quite a lot of BSB riders over there at the moment doing their stuff. Also, a tweet that I just saw, irrelevant to the Northwest 200, but is regarding a rider in the BSB paddock, and that's Liam Delves, who had arm pump surgery today in Manchester. So,
Carl Wright did as well.
Today?
Yeah, and Storm Stacey last week.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Oh, well. I've not had arm pump surgery.
Seems like they've all been, a few of them have been affected by it for the start of the season.
There you go. Okay. What we're talking about, there's the Kyle Smith thing's completely thrown my brain out from what we were talking about now. So, Luke, did we start previewing MotoGP and then we turned back and talked about something else?
A little bit, and then talked about Suzuki. So we haven't really spoken about who could do well at the French Grand Prix.
Well, let's talk about that now then. Who will do well at the French Grand Prix?
Well, whoever I say will do bad, so apologies. Me and Jack were talking about this before the show, and if it stays dry, which I think it's supposed to, last time I checked the weather there,
Okay.
Fabio Quartararo should win it. It should be Fabio's to win.
Oh, you've done it now.
I'm saying it. It's happening. When Fabio hits the deck on
turn
3, probably, it'll be but
why do you think he should win it? I mean, why should he win it? Just because it's a French Grand Prix?
I think, especially after the way his recent races have gone, and there'll be the added thing that it is his home race, I think he'll come into this weekend the favourite from everyone, not just the French fans, but from all the fans. So a lot of pressure on him this weekend, especially since he got third there last year in the mixed conditions. But if there's a time for him to win it, it'll be now. But there'll obviously be Pecco Bagnaia, who was very, very strong in Jerez, who did beat Fabio, but could have been a potential one-off, the Ducati went well there last year. But I think if Pecco's found his setup, then we could be seeing the start of Bagniaia's championship charge.
Interesting. Okay. What are your thoughts, Jack?
The Le Mans is a very Yamaha track. It's been very good track to Yamaha for many years now. And the past 2 years, Quartararo, if the race had been dry, was the clear favourite by miles. So there's no reason why it shouldn't be Fabio again this year. But if Pecco turns up and like a ref gets in the lead, it might be hard for Fabio to find a way past the speed of that Ducati. So wait and see. Hopefully the other Yamahas can actually put a good performance in, because they've been pretty much nowhere apart from Morbidelli having a 7th at Indonesia. But all the Yamahas did well there last year, so on dry anyway. So I think the Auto Factory will be praying that Le Mans can bring them some kind of form, hopefully.
All right. And, well, I mean, clearly then, Jack, you said the Yamaha's going well or expected to do well, but it might not necessarily be Fabio who wins the race.
I can't see who else it could be. I mean, unless Frankie discovers his 2020 form, I can't see who else on the Yamaha it could
be. But you never know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Could be a big upset.
Frankie's been up miles off the pace of Fabio pretty much all season. You never know, but at the moment it looks like Frankie's just missing that something. Whatever he had with the 2019 bike, it's not there with the 2022 bike. So we'll see.
Interesting.
I can't see the with you Yamaha boys doing anything of Dovi and Binder. So, but I did see something going back to Morbidelli that Lynn Jarvis said that he is apparently safe in the factory team for the rest of his contract. So whether that will be the case with the rumour of Top Rack, of course, Lynn Jarvis speaking about him recently. But
yeah, just remind us what he said.
Basically said that Top Rack needs to make the move to MotoGP sooner rather than later, which is pretty much a no-brainer, because otherwise you might get stuck in World Superbikes, where MotoGP is a very ageist championship nowadays. But with the Yamaha, I don't think that'd be the right place for Top Rack to go with the way they're going, because only one man can seem to ride that bike well at the moment. But yeah, but going back to Le Mans,
so you think you know better than Lynn Jarvis, do you?
Well, Lynn Jarvis is always going to hype up his own team, isn't he? He's not going to sit there and say Top Rack should go to Honda, is he? He's always going to... Because he's a Yamaha rider as well, Top Rack, he's not going to...
But even... Okay, so even if it's not, let's say next year, and let's say he does make the switch next year and the bike's not great or perfect, he'll be there in MotoGP, and he'll be able to have a couple of years to make the bike better, won't he? It's not all about immediate performance. Not every rider goes there knowing that, they're going to be on it, challenging for wins and stuff straight away.
The thing is with Top Rack as well, though, looking at the way he rides, I don't think that Yamaha would suit him at all. He's very hard on the brake and aggressive riding style, whereas the Yamaha and MotoGP, all they ever talk about is such a smooth handling bike, which doesn't seem to be what how Top Rack rides at all when you watch him.
Could we see many stoppies, do you reckon, Jack, if Top Rack, I don't know, what do you reckon about him? Should he, would he, will he go over?
I would not go, even though it's there for him, he could go Yamaha, but looking at the Yamaha, it doesn't look like it's the best package if you can't get the best out of it. And with Top Rack style, I can't see him doing that unless he's able to not have those rear grip issues that Frankie and Dovi are having. If I was him, I'd try maybe get on a Ducati, because I think that would be a better style. He could brake hard on that bike and get it turned in and gas it out. Or maybe you could make the Honda work possibly, and he's got the Red Bull sponsorship, which would help him. Maybe KTM. But the only thing that's stopping him from Yamaha is Monster Energy sponsorship, and I don't think Top Rack would be prepared, or even Superbike would be prepared to let Top Rack lose that Red Bull sponsorship.
That's what I was about to say as well. Top Rack and especially Keenan they're dead set on keeping that Red Bull sponsorship. It's meant to be worth a lot of money, more than more than a lot of people are sponsored by drinks companies, so I don't see them, unless Monster are going to match that the amount that Red Bull are paying. I couldn't really see them trying to lose that.
Well, let us know what you think, which way Top Cat will go next year. Will he stay put? Will he head over to MotoGP? Or will he do something else? And why would he do something else? So you think basically the general consensus is that he should just probably stay where he is, unless...
No.
Maybe not even that. Just go on, Jack.
It's like he's got the talent to be in GP. Just I don't think Yamaha is the right bike for him.
What about Honda?
Right, and just get, he's got the talent to go there. Like many other Superbike champions, he's got the talent to be there. Just he might get stuck there.
I mean, it's not necessarily definite that he'll, stay on a Yamaha. Really, could switch.
Yeah.
There's been some high profile, whatever the Suzuki team ends up becoming.
Yamaha want to keep Top Rack. They've made that very clear that they want him. If he's coming to MotoGP, they want him on their bike. I think he's doing a test on the M1 in August.
Yeah, Aragon.
Yeah, from what I've read.
So if they want him in MotoGP, it's not really his business to say no. I mean, what you're doing with your career, if you're saying no, if someone invites you to come and race in MotoGP.
But he could test the M1 and then decide that it's not the bike for him. And I think that's the good thing about him doing a test with the Yamaha in August before he signs a contract potentially, because he could get on the bike, ride it around Aragon and think, nah, this isn't for me. This isn't the bike. I'm not making it work. We've tried different things with the setup and it's just not.
And then they'll fall out.
I want.
Then he'll leave and then he's free to go wherever then.
I'm just thinking that he has the talent, and we all know that. We can all see him when he rides, but yeah, like Jack said, the Yamaha's not the bike for him. Maybe he could be the factory Ducati man that no one seems to know it's going to be for next year.
Yeah. I mean, Top Rack at Assen, his Super Bowl time was good enough to put him on the 4th row in GP last year.
Mm-hmm.
Put him on a GP bike, that's naturally going to make him quicker. So
yeah, absolutely smashed that Super Pole lap at Assen. So he is definitely a World Superbike rider that could have success in MotoGP, which not many of them have really had in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know. Do you have any thoughts on where Top Cat might go and what he might do and how it's all going to play out? Is he destined for MotoGP, albeit on a bike that he might not be suitable for, potentially? So say Jack and Luke. Or is he good enough that he can adapt his style for next year's bike? Didn't think of that, did we? Let us know. Get in touch on the comments box below. You probably see me texting people. That's because we've got some breaking news on the show. Just a little bit of breaking news, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Moving on, though, from... how do we end up talking about that anyway? Yamaha and stuff. What was the next thing we were talking about, Luke?
One thing I do want to quickly go back to with Le Mans is Marc Marquez is one I think to watch out for. He was doing well around Le Mans last year before it went wet and he crashed. But I think Marc Marquez is steadily improving this season and he's gone about it the right way. The only sort of massive incident he's had is...
How are you measuring improvement?
His results are getting better and better every race he's been in. And you can see that because I think it's gone 8th. Then obviously he had the Indonesian and Argentinian round off, and then it was 6th and 5th, I think, from the results. He's 7th. Is it?
5th. Hang on. 5th. Come where he came in Kota. 6th or 7th.
I think he was 6th.
Then 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been improving throughout the season. So,
but he's also had quite a few crashes as well.
Yeah.
He's only had one real major one, really, which is... For that Portugal one he had, I thought that would be a weekend out, 2 weekends maybe for Marquez, but he looks like ever since Indonesia, he's calmed himself down a little bit in terms of how he's crashing. So if
he's not crashing too badly. I mean, his shoulder didn't fall off.
And he hasn't knocked himself Sparko again. So if he can, I think there's a chance definitely at Le Mans to see Marquez back on a podium.
Would we like to see that though?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see that, especially again where he's had his double vision problems again this season. He's almost shown that he's human now, because there's many years where, he was an alien. That nothing would go wrong for Marquez. He was untouchable, but now it looks like he has shown to the rest of the championship and the other riders, you can beat Marc Marquez, and he can also beat himself. So I think it'll be good for him to get on the podium again this season.
Okay. Jack, Marquez, at this moment in time, would we like to see him win it? Well, obviously, yeah. Well, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm just presuming that.
I think most people would like to see him win. He seems his race pace is good. Just that in qualifying, he seems to have a toe, which is very good at doing. As we've seen at Jerez and other places. Because I think if he hadn't got that toe, if he would have got that fourth place, he would have made his way up a bit. But we're just going to see how that new Honda is at Le Mans. It could be amazing, it could be terrible. Just got to see how the rear grip is.
Okay. Didn't sound like an overwhelming cheerlead for Marc Marquez, but okay, whatever.
I have to agree though. He can't seem to qualify on his own anymore. Ever since his injury, he's never seemed to be able to go out there and put in a blinder of a lap on his own. He's normally behind Jack Miller. I think he tried to get in behind Aleix Espargaro, which, surprise, surprise, Aleix threw a fit at. Not, it always happens with Aleix, even to his own brother. But I think Jack seems to almost let Mark sit behind him and follow him. So I don't know if there's a thing of Jack Miller's confident that he could, he could outpace Marquez, or maybe it is a confidence boost knowing that, Marc Marquez has to follow you to get a lap time to be higher than you, if that makes sense.
Okay, interesting. There was one other question that I had. What was it? Regarding tyre pressures as well. Jack, what's going on regarding illegal tyre pressures? Do we definitely... Tell us more.
I don't know what day it was. It might have been yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It was revealed that Pecco, Jorge Martin had run the entire race, or near enough the entire race, under the minimum tyre pressure compared to everyone else, apart from Rins and another person. And that fluctuated throughout the whole race. But it seems there's been some controversy over that. Like Michelin, did they know about it? Did any of the teams know about it? Who actually knew about it? What's been done about it? So that puts lots of stuff in the air. And I guess we'll wait to see if there's any answers tomorrow in the press conference.
Okay. And what does this mean potentially? What might happen next, or what? Are we going to read anything into the next steps, or?
I guess a fine or disqualification. A fine, I'd imagine.
Well, because if you look back to 2018, I think Motegi with Fabio Quartararo in Moto2, he had an illegal tyre pressure and he got disqualified from a race win, I think it was. So if they want to be consistent, potentially a disqualification for all the ones who were running it illegally, but we'll see what happens, what Dorna decide to what does Dorna decide to do.
Ooh, stay tuned. Would we see anything dramatic like that? We don't know. I don't know.
They've left it a while for if they are going to do anything, because then I guess like what Jack said, did they know, which I imagine they did, because
surely something like that would be just like a clear cut open and shut case though, right? Exactly,
that's what you think, because I think it was the same day when Fabio had it in 2018, the same day they tested it, and he was disqualified that moment there and then. But it doesn't really seem like
So maybe just a fine or something for the team.
Yeah, nothing has been said. Nothing's been done. I know that Gigi Dell'Igna did a press conference yesterday, I believe it was, with a few MotoGP journalists. I think he discussed it, but I didn't see what had really been said, because I imagine from seeing Gigi in interviews before, he wouldn't have said too much about it.
Well, we will have to wait and see on that one as to the news that might emerge over the weekend. Maybe it'll just get dropped, maybe not, or just some press release saying they've been warned or yada yada. Who knows? But yeah, an interesting thread to watch out for. Also, talking about esports next as well. Obviously, I'm all over esports and stuff. I'm not, actually. I used to be. Maybe I retired 10 years ago. I retired my steering wheel, and I no longer do any of that sort of stuff. But one man who does is Jack Hammersley, and he only happens to be one of the best esport riders in the world at the moment. Oh, yes. You've been competing in the official MotoGP Esport Championship, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Got the name right at least. Well, you've been doing very well because you won the last race. And tell us how that went.
Yeah, so they did the EU Pro Championship, which is like a league that's just run by themselves. Ran a 2-race event, which included the champion Trastevere from last year, as well as the vice champion Piero Ricciuti. And in the second race, Misano, I managed to win by 11.5 seconds. There was a lot of controversy, but I won the race by being smart and just not crashing. Everyone else crashed. And yeah, it's looking good. Everyone's training. Still no official announcement on who's where, who's reserve, who's official. All we know is that round 1 is in just over 2 weeks' time, which will be on Friday of Mugello, and 2 tracks of Sachsenring and Mugello.
Now, last year you went to at least one of the rounds.
Yeah.
Will you be doing that this year if selected?
Yeah, so if selected, you go to Mugello, you have a round at home, you then go to the Red Bull Ring, another round at home, and then you go to Valencia for the final. Okay.
And obviously means you get to have your race and be successful doing that, but also get in for free at GP weekend as well.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Do you get like special passes and whatnot?
Yeah, you get paddock passes, and each team is different of how they handle it. Some are better than others, we'll say. But, you get the experience of being in a team. You get to be in the garage and meet the riders and go in the hospitality and just watch bike racing. And then when it comes to the actual racing, we're all rivals, but it's not like heated or anything. Well, unless there's a crash that could cause mayhem in the championship. But
yeah, like how comparing it to like, the white hot battle of a world championship final, where there's like a proper fierce professional rivalry, how heated can you guys get? I mean, is like what's the worst that apart from like, you barged me off at the last round, you prick or something?
In last year, there was 4 of them that could have won it, and 2 of them were taken out at turn 1 by someone else, and that it was just like there was nothing, because none of them caused any other problems. They were all fine about it with each other anyway. With the person who caused the crash, that was a bit iffy, but I've never seen full-on arguments with people. So,
well, that's good, and hopefully it will remain the same. Everyone will be well behaved. And have you ever been caught up in I mean, admittedly, Jack, I haven't seen all your races because it's something that I've been busy.
I've I've been caught up in a crash before, which wasn't anyone's fault, just bad internet connection, which cost me a win. But I've never, like, from my knowledge, I can't remember, I've never taken anyone out in the sport race.
So what happens when you start sort of, like ghosting? Do you do what I used to do, and which led to my eventual retirement from esport racing? Smash up your controller and storm off and go and find the nearest McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, when you crash or you have a bad race or a bad session, I just leave it for 20 minutes and come back and try and ride better. So you can do. There's no point getting wound up about it, because you just end up going to ride worse. So what happened with Quartararo when he ended in 2020, he got wound up by himself and he went from leading the championship to being 8th. So it's got to keep calm, cool, and try and be as positive as possible. Because at the moment, from looking at the lap times, the race pace is, if you're 2 tenths off the pace, you could be in 10th place. So it's going to be quite tough to win races. Okay,
nice. I noticed you compared yourself to Fabio Quartararo. You never know. You never know how the season's going to go. So, how can we follow the action? Presuming that you'll be in the. When is the possible next time you'll be racing? In a couple of weeks.
So in a couple of weeks, on Friday the 27th.
Okay.
You'll be on all the MotoGP and MotoGP esports socials on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Fantastic stuff. And we are also, incidentally, streaming live on Twitch, I think. Yes, we are. I'm going to say yes. A little known fact, because we almost never promote it. And, well, I don't live on Twitch because, I'm not an esport person anymore. And I'm also not young, so I've got no business being on Twitch, really. Luke, question about the new MotoGP game.
I got a question for Jack first. Oh, is there a car up for grabs this year for whoever wins it again?
I've not heard anything. I guess yes, because there's been a car every single year, but I might change it to a prize pool like they do in F1. But
what would you like the prize to be if it's not a car?
Car.
2 cars.
A prize pool. It's like, I don't mind what the prize is, as long as it's.
You're just there for the glory of winning.
Yeah. So it's something. If it's the same value as a BMW, I'll be happy with it. But yeah, I guess we'll see what it is, and they don't usually announce what it actually is until October, November. So
fair enough.
I think you just wait to see what sponsorships and also what's happened.
So you could go through the whole season and not even be that good.
Congratulations, you've won my old yellow van! Yay!
Yeah.
Get that on eBay for 50 quid.
Not quite the BMW that I can't remember his name, but the Yamaha rider won last year. So,
that's just 3 of them.
Oh, what?
Put a BMW
2 of them are different models, so you can. He's probably sold one of them. I don't know what he's sold the other 2.
I was going to say, has he still got them?
Yeah, definitely got one of them. I know that.
So who else is in this? Is there because obviously we know you, but I mean, I'm not expecting to know anyone else in the championship, I'll be perfectly honest. But is there anyone else worth knowing in the championship?
Well, yeah, you got Trastevere. I mean, when you come to thinking of people who can win it, from what who I'd guess would be in it, you got Trastevere, 3-time world champion, Adrian, 26. 2020 champion, Andrew ZH, 2019 champion, Piero Ricciuti, last year's runner-up, and Christian, MM17, who was runner-up in 2017 and 3rd in 2019 and 20. So those are your main 5, assuming they're racing. And then in terms of others, it goes in and out. People change all the time.
Yeah.
But, they're all nice lads, so.
Well, that's good. No falling out, especially when you're all barging into each other. and fighting for that coveted prize of my van.
Yeah.
It's probably not my van, to be honest. Just the thought of it makes me laugh. Anyway, but talking about Luke, you had a question about, or you had some thoughts about the most recent MotoGP gaming experience.
Yeah, I haven't played this year's game because I'm not going to buy it. Last year's one, I didn't really enjoy. I played it a little bit, couldn't really get into it.
Because you were rubbish.
Yeah, I was very bad. I was quite good the few years before. I wasn't.
No, it must be the game. It's crap. It's not me. It must be the game. It's full of bugs.
They changed the braking style on the game, and I just couldn't get my head around that because I refused to change my style at all. But I could handle a Moto 3 and a Moto 2 bikes, but I just couldn't do MotoGP. And I've never been, anywhere near as good as Jack was on the games. But I've played them for many years now, and I've just gone off the franchise a bit now. It's not as fun as I used to.
So a stubborn lack of riding development style
yes.
means you possibly end your dreams of a MotoGP esport career.
That dream was never there,
and it now lies in the bin. But it's good to see you doing all right, Jack. Interesting question though. Have you had to change your riding style or playing style, or as per game sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, from 2017, the game's changed a lot every single time. So you've had to change your riding style every single time to suit the bike. This year, it's like, if you took the base of it, it's exactly the same as last year, and then they've just added improvement. Some are improvements, some need to be tweaked, but they're definitely improving. They've changed a lot of things in the braking system and how you lean over the bike, because the bike can lean a lot worse and not better in some places. So,
well, it is good that they're putting that extra development investment into the product rather than just sort of leaving it. Your hopes for the future, Jack, if you have any at all about the game.
I just hope they're consistent. They are good, and I just hope any updates do change, because you usually change the game and it makes a big difference to the physics. I hope, because every time they've changed the physics, it's gone against me in the past 4 years. So I hope for once it goes in my favour, but probably won't. But it's just got to, fingers crossed, hope I can be the first non-Italian or Spanish race winner, and then hope that can turn into first non-Spanish Italian MotoGP Sport World Champion. Okay.
Well, best of luck with that, and we will definitely mither you through the season, through good and bad. Let's hope less of the bad stuff, because we want to see you doing well, even if it is just esports, which is still a real competitive thing. Just ask the people driving away in a brand new car. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So let us know, Jack, and I suppose if the next race it doesn't go, we just won't ask you about it. Okay. Cool. Anyway, right. So I did mention some breaking news earlier, and we will bring you some breaking news in a moment. I'm teasing you with some breaking news because just before we do bring you that, Luke, do we have anything else that we need to talk about just before we move on?
Nothing from MotoGP side of things, and nothing that I've seen.
World Superbikes, what's the dealie with that now? Where are we up to? What's Ben? Did I see on social media today Ben Curry is testing again today?
I hope so. I haven't seen that.
I thought I saw something.
Probably have. I haven't seen that today, but I hopefully he is, because.
Okay. And Jack, when is the next World Superbike race anyways?
It's next weekend at Estoril, so 21st and 22nd of May.
Okay.
And I'm
Excellent.
expecting Alvaro Bautista to be extremely fast out of that last corner down the home straight against the Ray and Toprak. I think it's just be like every round so far. Ray is going to be probably the best racer. Toprak's probably going to have the fastest qualifying. Bautista's probably going to have the best race pace. It's all just going to combine into great 3 races.
Right. Well, we will. I suppose we'll talk about it nearer the time, and or whenever any stuff kicks off online about it. And I'm especially interested to keep up to date with the good or bad TV directing. Yes, it was a thing. It has been noted. Thank you. One of the comments that I get during these events is like, you talk to each other, obviously. And there are just some things, obviously, because I do a little bit of TV producing and stuff. That's just one of the things that I'm keenly aware of. Don't go on board when they're all crashing and stuff. Apparently, there was no footage of Ray and Toprak crashing at all, other than that one on board. None whatsoever. Interesting. Anyway, right, moving on, because I did promise some breaking news, and I was promised I did threaten to get this person on as and when he had a ride announced. And we're talking about the Honda British Talent Cup, and one rider who has shown a lot of potential and had some success over the past couple of years, and that is Sullivan Mounsey. He was most recently racing with a team who also races in BSB, but that didn't come through to this year. And since then, he's been doing his very best to look for a ride. And now it's been announced, and he returns back to the Honda British Talent Cup, having missed 2 rounds. But he was at the races, but not on a bike, unfortunately. Sullivan Mounsey said 1 hour ago on Facebook that he will be riding at the... You know what? Should we just ask him, actually, rather than just read the press release? Because he's on the show right now. Sullivan, hello, welcome.
Hello, guys. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on sort of super last minute as soon as I saw as soon as I was scrolling on Facebook, and I thought, aha. So I've been sort of bugging you for weeks trying to get you to tell me about this deal. Was it something in the making a while, or is this just come together now? Basically, tell us who you're running with, and tell us how it came about.
So this year I'll be riding for Wilson Racing JNS Accessories in the Honda British Talent Cup. It's been quite a tough off-season as me and PR Racing went our separate ways, which was a shame, but we decided to come back stronger, and we just decided we had a couple deals on the line. We were talking to and negotiating with a couple people, but a couple deals just didn't want to go our way, and we've had Wilson backing us 100%, and we decided to go with Wilson Racing.
Well, that is good news that you've got something together, and on a team that's had success in the past, and they're a good outfit. And I'm just trying to remember who was with them last year. I think it was it James Cook on one of their bikes, I think.
Yes, it was James Cook, Luke Hopkins, and Ryan Hitchcock. Yeah,
that's them. And we're just watching some images now of, I guess, some publicity stuff. Obviously, it must have been excruciating watching from the sidelines in Silverstone at round 1 and at Alton Park round 2. Have you been on the bike, and what are you, I guess you're just excited to be back just racing, I suppose, aren't you?
Yeah, so the last bit of time I rode the Moto3 was at the last round of 2021 at Donington Park. So it'll be good to get back out there on the Moto3. We've been doing quite a bit of practice on the Moto4. So we went to Mallory Park on Sunday, just try and get my feel back for the big tracks. So I'm a bit nervous, but I'm more excited than nervous and ready to get back out there and carry on from last year.
Because, I remember, was it Silverstone where I think you did particularly well in last year's championship, and that's already gone now. I suppose, you'd be returning back to the full GP circuit when MotoGP return. But dates on the calendar from the rounds that remain, Sullivan, what are you most looking forward to?
I must say I'm looking forward to next round most than anything, as I think I'm ready. I'm more excited than nervous, and I'm just kind of ready to get back out there on the Moto3 at Donington, as that's where I started to come upwards last year. So that's my main goal and where I'm most happy to get back out.
Okay, and I mentioned Silverstone. Am I right in thinking that you go to school at Silverstone, or college? Sorry. What is it, school or college? I don't know.
So it's Silverstone UTC, which is Silverstone University Technical College.
Oh, okay.
So it's been going very good there, as I've been learning quite a bit of engineering and quite a few things that especially I've actually learned a bit, especially on how bikes work and how they run more effectively, as I've gone there to learn the ins and outs of my bike, and so then I have a better understanding of it.
Well, that's good. I didn't know they do that sort of stuff. And that's the building opposite the pit straight on the the national pit straight, isn't it? That's that college there, or uni college. That's where you actually you actually go and learn actually inside Silverstone Circuit, which is the world's coolest school.
Yeah, I must say it is very cool, but it's a bit annoying at times when I see my friends racing on the track and I'm there watching. That's a bit of a bum, but
just looking lonely out of the window, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, but I must say it's. I think it's a very, very big step that my parents and I have, and my sponsors have all took for me to move up to Silverstone to learn and be as prepared and ready for my racing career as I can.
Yeah, okay. So things are back on track now, but do you, maybe it's a bit too early to ask, considering you've only just made an announcement to return back to racing, but knowing you'll have a plan about where you want to be or what you want to do. So where do you want to be and what do you want to do?
So this year, the goal is to win the championship. It's going to be a long shot, but I believe with the people backing me, and if I put in the effort I've been putting in over the off-season on training, and I just keep going the way I was going last year, I think I've got quite a good chance. But I'm really excited, and I'm especially excited to get out at round one. But the goal, everyone knows where the goal is to go. But we're just focusing on the next round and getting ready for just building round by round. So I'm not jumping too fast.
Yeah, quite sensible. And you are always someone who seems quite sensible as well. Never really getting in too many tangles with other people, I must say. And hopefully that will continue for Donington, which is, I suppose, your round one next week. Is it next week? Or the week
2
after?
weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Whenever Donington is. How well do you go there at Donington? Do you like it? Is it a favourite of yours?
So I've always kind of got on well at Donington. I've never liked the track, but I've kind of just built into it step by step, and I've kind of just learned to like Donington quite a bit now. I'm still not a fan of Craner curves as I'm quite a small rider. So it's very hard for me to change direction on the bike. But I do manage. But last year, Donington National was very, very good for me. That's when I learned I've got the pace to battle for the lead, which I did end up doing. And Donington Park GP, the last round for BTC, it was a bit more of a struggle. We had good sessions all the way up to qualifying, where qualifying we qualified about 9th, where we didn't have very good strategy as we tried something that didn't work out. And then we went into race 1 in the wet, I believe, and we just didn't have the right setup on. So we had some chatter going into all the corners, so I just could not brake as hard, which didn't allow me to have a very good first race. And then in the second race, I crashed out on the first lap. So it was a shame for us, really, but we built from it. The team was very happy with me for my performance that whole season. So we just kind of moved on and rethought.
Okay. Well, yeah, hopefully you've learned from that experience, as the Honda British Talent Cup is all about learning. And there'll be, understandably, Sullivan, a lot of people who watch BSB and the British Talent Cup is a good addition to the weekend, I suppose, mostly because it always provides good, close and clean racing. But they might not know about all the additional stuff that goes on in the background, because the whole field is quite young, let's say, and not very experienced on bigger tracks. But there's quite a lot of coaching that goes on, which not many people will necessarily know of.
Well, there's quite a bit of help, especially from Dawn and the guys, Matt and Alex. I must say they are a very, very big part to my weekends the last 2 seasons, and they will be for the rest of this season, definitely. Because I know they're probably one of the main people that have got me where I am today, just from getting on that Moto3, because every little detail I've kind of thought of from 2020, when I thought at the end of 2020 getting P8, I thought, okay, that's it. I've hit the limit on that bike. Cool, I don't need to get their help. And as soon as I got to round 1, I was still up there, but I realised I need to take as much out of every opportunity I can, which I've started to do now. So I'm quite happy with how the coaches are, as they have really helped me, and they are still helping a lot of riders to this day, and many more, because even if it's not the Dorna guys, people do have their own team coaches and rider coaches, which do a very, very good job. But yeah, they do a very good part.
Yeah, that's interesting to know how you approach things, because there's sometimes a thought to when young riders, let's say, I'm trying to be polite and say not kids and be dismissive, but when kids are being told things, they don't always listen. So it's good that at least you take most of that on board in your coaching sessions. And there's a whole track walk that goes on with the very experienced Alex Baldolini from Dorna as well, former Moto2 racer and podium winner as well. All of that adds to basically what is a fantastically strong field ultimately in the Honda British Talent Cup, and that shows in all the clean racing. Often, Sullivan, cleaner than most of the BSB and other support categories, because you're not always barging around like some of the adults do. So that's pretty good to see as well. So back to this year now, we've finally got you on the bike, and you're looking forward to round 1. and it's Donington, and you're overcoming all those things from last year. And well, you've already set your sights pretty high for a championship win. How are you going to do that?
So really, I've got everyone backing me, especially people from last year. My old crew chief and mechanic Carl Usher. He's going to be behind me all the way. I've also got Kev Jelsinen, which is also going to be there with me. And they've been the two main people, as well as many others, supporting me and giving me good advice through my season, and giving me good decisions. So I'm not making the wrong decisions. But they've been backing me quite a bit through this season so far, which is my off season. And then I'm going to have all the Gary Wilson team, Rebecca, Gary, and everyone else. And my teammate Harrison, I do really like him. I think he's a very determined rider. Yeah,
it's Harrison McKay.
Yes, so I do remember meeting him at Fab Racing in 2016, if I believe, or 2017. So yeah, he's going to be a very big part. And I'm going to give him a couple tips that I've learned from Donington. Hopefully he can help me out a bit as well, which I believe he will. But yeah, it's really good that he's there. And a massive thank you to Christian from Frank Thomas and JNS Accessories, because these guys, if it wasn't for them, I must say I probably wouldn't be here where I am today, because they've kept me very, very safe pre-season and the season last year, from when I've had a couple nasty high sides, for instance, Knockhill.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that, as I say, you are now finally sorted in terms of a ride for this season. And it'll be good to see. I don't want to say too much and jinx anything, but I'll just say what I usually say. Best of luck, at your first race of the season. And I don't know if Evan Belford is back. For those who don't know, Evan broke his leg. He had a big incident at Alton. Am I remembering that right? Silverstone, I said. Yeah. Was it Silverstone? Anyway, Evan Belford, championship favourite coming into the season, had a big injury, and he's favoured to still be one of the top contenders for the championship when he returns. And that might possibly be Donington. It might not be, but if you're going to win, you've got to beat some of the quickest people on there, who you already know through Fab anyway. So.
Yeah, so that's the plan.
Exactly. And you have already won a race this year, of course, at Fab Racing in the Extreme 200 class. And it was a race where Casey O'Gorman was also racing as well. So you can at least say this year you are a race winner, having beaten, let's say, even though he fell off, but we'll say beaten Casey O'Gorman. And yeah, it'd be fantastic to see you back at racing at Fab. But more importantly, Sullivan, back racing at the front of the Honda British Talent Cup this season. Thank you very much for popping on at super last minute to tell us your good news.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me.
Excellent, and we'll keep up to date with how you do. Well, through the season, I suppose. So yeah, after you've been racking up all the podiums. Thank you very much, Sullivan, for coming on the Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio. Right, so we will move on. Not much else to discuss, really. I think we've talked about the Northwest 200, we've talked about MotoGP, talked about World Superbikes, talked about esports, talked about the Honda British Talent Cup, and Romano Fenati as well. That's about it, I think. I think we're all out of news, I think. Duh. And we've had Kyle Smith on the show. Yeah, I can't forget that. Even though I just did. And Sullivan Mousey. Been a pretty good show, I think. But with that, I think it's time for us to go and get some food and have a good old we basically have stories. So thank you for everyone who's been in touch and watched the program tonight. I was gonna tell you about a big bit of news that I've been putting together for the Fab Racing Mini Bikes British Championship. It's not quite ready yet, and it's a massive announcement, but I'll just maybe it'll be ready in time for next week's show. Big announcement. That's all I can say. And I know Jay King was dying to hear what it was, and I was going to tell him if he'd have come on the show, but he's not. But anyway, this is killing me keeping that secret inside because I'm not, I'm... Anyway, Luke, thank you for being back at uni and stuff, learning and all that. And also Jack as well. Thank you for giving up a couple of hours talking about some bikes and whatnot. Hopefully we'll be back again same time next week.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Excellent. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Superbike show. And we'll talk about some more stuff next week. Ciao.
Motorsport Radio.
Awesome, right?
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.